Okay, so for number five is a little bit different than the ones we just did. And number four and number three, because this angle is not being bisected. Okay, it's actually the angle addition postulate, and this tells me, um, let me use a different. The measure of angle SQR is 2x plus 6. And then SQR is this angle in here. There's SQ and R, right? So I know that. Let me just turn it real quick. It's 2x plus 6. So I just put it inside where the angle goes. And then the other information they give us is the measure of PQR. If I follow the letters, here's P, Q, R. That's talking about this angle that's underneath the other one. It tells me that's 10 times x minus 4. And then SQP starts out here, goes to Q, and then goes to P. SQP is technically this big angle in here. Okay, and we're told SQP is equal to 62, right? And then what they want us to find is the measure of the measure of angle SQR. They want us to find the measure of this. Well, in order to do that, I need to figure out what x is. Okay, because I can figure out what x is and then plug it in there, and then that'll simplify into the measure of angle SQR. So what we have to do, we have to think of it this way. This small angle and then this angle equals this big angle. Okay? Because I know, watch, I know SQR goes from here to here, right? There's SQR. And then PQR goes from here to here. Together they make this big angle. Okay? So I'm gonna take SQR, which is 2x plus 6. I'm gonna solve it over here. Add it to 10x minus 4. And then I know those two together equal 62. Okay. And then again, we have to start, we have to solve this equation. These x's are on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm going to use my simplification properties. Simplify these or think combined like terms. So that's 12x. Then we have the numbers. You have plus 6 and minus 4. The sign in front always goes with the number. Okay, so this 4 is minus. It's technically like 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. Okay, then here's x. We're going to get rid of that plus 2 by using inverse operation. So we go minus 2. And then 12 times x, the opposite of that is divide by 12. X equals 5. Now this isn't my answer, but it helps me find my answer. Remember, we're looking for the measure of angle SQR. And in the instructions, they tell me measure of angle SQR is equal to 2x plus 6. That's what it says up there. I just figured out x is 5. So instead of x, I'm going to put 5. Start to simplify this. 2 times 5 is 10. And then 10 plus 6, I'm just going to go ahead and put it down here, 16. So I know that little angle in there is 16. And it's 16 degrees, grados. Okay. So let's move on to number 6. Number 6, midpoint formula. You should have the midpoint formula in your notebook. If not, copy it down. This is the midpoint formula. The midpoint formula, I think it's easy to work with. This just tells us add the x's and then divide by 2. Easy. You're going to add two numbers. You guys can all add, and then you guys all can divide by 2. Same thing with this one. Add the y's and divide by 2. You can do that. Okay, everybody in here can do that. The only thing you do have to remember, or what you do have to remember, is in a point, it's always X then Y, like this. Okay, it's always in that order. Think alphabetical order. So I know this is XY, and then I know this is XY. This A point came first, so I'm going to call that X1, Y1. The B point came second, so that's your X2, Y2. So then if I use my midpoint formula, take the two X's, there's one X, there's the other X. Add them and divide by 2. Then take your two Y's, there's one Y, there's the other Y. Add them divided by 2. So if I simplify this, if I add the two top numbers, -4 plus 6, I get 2, and then I still have the divided by 2. If I add 5 and -1, I get 4, and then I still have the 2 on the bottom. And then finally, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. That's the midpoint. And you don't have to, but you could kind of verify this on the graph. If I plotted this point, that point would be 1, 2. It would be here. Right? And then you could tell, yeah, that's the midpoint. You could even take a ruler out and measure it if you wanted to. I'm not going to, but you could. Okay, so that was number 6, midpoint formula. Remember, just think, add the Y's, and I mean, add the X's divided by 2, add the Y's and divide by 2. That's it. And you may get a decimal here sometimes. Sometimes it'll be like 1.5, 2.5. That's not a big deal. So let's move to 7. So in 7, we have 4 angles. One of the angles is given to us. I know this angle and this angle are congruent. Why are they congruent? Because they are vertical angles. Okay. And then to find another angle, I'm going to focus on these two angles. Okay, these two here. If I notice this angle to here, that makes a half circle or a linear pair. Okay, you should think, hey, these two add up together to make 180. So if I want to figure out this angle measure, all I need to do is take 180 and minus 36. Okay. And that gives us 44. So I know this side is 44, and then I know this side is 44. Again, because these are vertical angles. Always the two angles that are across from each other in this like X pattern will be vertical angles or congruent. Okay. So same idea here. 77 and that angle are the same. What is that angle for? So those are both 77. These two up here form a linear pair. So I take 180 and subtract 77. I get 103. So I know this one is 103 and this one is 103. Pretty easy, straightforward. Pause this if you need to pause it. Let's move on. So for this one, the diagram is the same. It's just pretty much here, find X or find Y. Is one of the you're gonna be asked one of those two on the test. Okay. Let's say you're asked to find X. This is what you need to do. Identify which angles have X in them. It's these two angles, right? X is here and X is there. Okay. Well, we just said those two make a linear pair, right? It makes a linear pair like this one. And whenever two angles make a linear pair, the two angles will add up to equal 180, right? 2x minus 3 plus 5x minus 1 will add up to equal 180. And then we have to solve the equation. Again, there's 21x, there's a plus 5x. Add those, and you get 26x. Combine the numbers, negative 3 and plus 1 is minus 2. Bring down the equals 180. Last thing we do, here's the x, start using inverse operations. Add 2 to both sides, that's 0. 26 times x equals 182. And the last thing you do is you divide both sides by 26. And you get x equals 7. So that's the value of x, 7. So let's say you had to figure out the variable y. Well, then again, you got to look at the expressions in here and figure out, well, where's y? Well, this angle and this angle both have y's in them. And then you tell yourself again, hey, that's a linear pair. If they're across from each other, they would be equal. But they're not across from each other. That's a linear pair. So I know 4y plus 17y minus 9. When you add those, it equals 180. Okay. Actually, I think I still have my my notes right here from a long time ago. See, it's a linear pair. When you add them, it equals 180. When they're vertical angles, they're equal. Okay. So then I can solve this. Combine the x's, that's 21. Combine the y's, that's 21y. Bring everything else down. Start using inverse operations. That's 180. I'm getting ahead of myself. That goes away, that's 0. 21y equals 189. Divided by 21, divided by 21. Y equals 9. That's the value of y.